What If here, and today we'll be doing What If Asta was Zoro's reincarnation. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Always from a young age, Asta seemed more advanced and much more wise than the other kids at the church, so he would just keep to himself and train for the most part, besides talking and training with Yuno. The rest soon lead after, however. Asta was a very powerful child and wasn't normal in the sense of awareness. Everyone found it hard to believe that he has no magic despite being the strongest in the church. That's a brief explanation of how child Asta was. However, we see Asta a few years later with Yuno as they are both 15. Now, Yuno will wake Asta who was sleeping and tell him that it's time to get their grimoires. Asta would then wake up and say, yeah. They would begin to head to the grimoire tower, getting there shortly. As they reach the tower, they enter the grimoire ceremony. I apologize. They enter the tower and the grimoire ceremony began. The grimoires would begin to fall into the hands of their holders, as Asta actually didn't get one. Asta would say, "Oh well," and then but the nobles there would start laughing at him, and this would piss Asta off greatly. He would then let off his conqueror spirit, as everyone in the room damn near pissed their pants. Yuno would still get his four-leaf grimoire, and then makes the cocky statement that he'll be the Wizard King. With this, Asta would smirk and say, "Don't get ahead of yourself. Even with no grimoire, I'll kick your ass." Asta says that he really needs to buy him some swords, cause up until this point he's been using sticks and that's been more than enough. While him and Yuno are walking back to Hodge Village, this guy would try and come and take Yuno's grimoire. This However, this guy is a joke to both Asta and Yuno at this point in the story, since this Asta and Yuno are much stronger. Obviously, Yuno because he's trying to be on par with Asta. They're on a much higher level than in canon. Anyways, Asta would then admit Kakurasaki, and Yuno will let his magic power explode and burst, and this will make the man pass out in an instant. In this instance, Asta would actually get a grimoire, and it would come flying to Asta as Asta grabs it and sees it's a 5-leaf grimoire. Asta would then reach into the grimoire, pulling out seeing one fully black blade, the other mostly red with the little black, and the other white and black, mostly black. Asta would grab these out and would then say, "Finally, I can use these to my fuller potential." Yuno will start sweating bullets, thinking that Asta is going to be a whole problem and even more of a complete monster than he is already. With these 3 magnificent swords that are the size of Zoro's in One Piece. They're not going to be different sizes and shapes. They're going to be the size of the swords that Zoro has in One Piece. Asta would throw the sword back into the grimoire, as he would tell Yuno that now he's extra powerful with this, and I can beat a Magic Knight captain. Yuno thinks that this is just an arrogant statement, and they would continue to walk back to Hodge to train for 6 months into the entrance exams for the Magic Knights. After 6 months, Asta and Yuno would say their goodbyes to the people of the church, and they would then leave out and start traveling to the capital where the entrance exams are held. They would eventually get there in about a day this time, since they have much more power and have much more stamina. When they get there, they register their grimoires and enter, as all eyes will be on Asta and Yuno, especially the girls watching them thinking they're cute. Now the magic birds, none of them will be around Yuno or Asta. Even though Asta had no magic, the sheer aura that surrounds Asta is more than enough to scare them away. Yuno and Asta would proceed to speed run the Magic Knights exam, and once they get to the sparring part of it, Asta would actually challenge every single person there. And then Yuno, seeing Asta do this, he wants to do it as well. Yuno proceeds to take them down. Yuno and Asta proceeds to take everyone there. Let's say there are about 500 people there. Asta takes 320, and Yuno would take 180. The Magic Knight captains who allowed this would be shocked at a pure power of the boy. So they took down 500 men in total. I apologize, and they didn't get touched once. The people that Asta and Yuno will wake up, and then the decider will begin. The majority of them who were there had failed. However, when it got to Asta and Yuno, Every single Magic Knight squad captain raised their hand. Yuno would choose the Golden Dawn per cannon, and Asta would say that I'll join the Black Bulls. Everybody there is shocked, including Yami and the captives, and everyone will wonder why, out of having the opportunity to be on the best of the best, he chose the worst of the worst. Asta would then say, because I'm going to make the Black Bulls the top squad. Yami would then say that he's happy that he joined, and he says he likes him already. They will head to the Black Bulls HQ, and then everything proceeds as is canon, where Asta getting introduced to everyone, and then Magma challenges him. However, Asta completely one-shotted him, and in the process, he learned that his blades can cut through and reflect magic after this. Asta heads to his room and writes to the church, and then sleeps the next day, and Magma shows him around, and runs into Noelle, who, when their encounter goes pretty much the same. Asta would then figure out surely that she couldn't control her magic, and everything would proceed normally from there, where Asta gets launched into her water barrier and slices it in half, saving Noelle, catching her while she was falling, as he explains that she just needs to control that magic power of hers and that temper too. She would rejoin the Black Bulls, and the next day both Yami and Magma were out gambling. And then they needed to do a favor for the one they lost to, which Yami would tell. I apologize. Heath would ask them to take care of the boars near his village, and then Yami would end up telling Noelle and Asta to do it, and Asta would yawn and say fine, and Magma would actually go with them. They would head out on Magma's crazy cyclone, since Asta didn't want to fly on his sword since they were small, and he wanted to relax while flying. So both Noelle and Asta ended up on the crazy cyclone, and once they get to the village, Asta would actually tell Noelle that this will be her first lesson, and he would try to hit. He would tell her to try to hit one of the boards. If not, they'll run you down and kill you. With that pressure on her, she manages to hit one, and Asta would smirk, and he would then one-shot the rest of the boards and begin to take them back to Saucy Village for their food. Shortly after, they found the village covered in mist. Asta cuts through the mist barrier, plus clears the mist through the village, sending a small tornado through the village. They would eventually get to where Heath is, and Asta would slash the icicles into hell, and the villagers would be surprised. Magma and Noelle Magma and Noelle shortly are behind Asta, as Asta would actually give a training session for both Noelle and Magma. Side note, they got there much earlier than the canon due to defeating the boars much earlier, meaning the old man is still alive and Asta saved him. But anyways, Noelle and Magma would question Asta. However, Asta would tell them to defeat this foe alone without any of his help, to train them to be much stronger. They don't have much of a choice, so they would actually begin. Noelle will blast off water magic at him. He would just turn it into ice, while as she keeps doing that, it distracts him, as Magma would hit him with a fireball. Heath would get hit with this and would then get pissed off, making icicles, sending it at both Noelle and Magma. It would actually hit Magma in the leg, and it would spike through his leg, as he would then fall out. Asta would want to interfere, but this is training, and they would need this, because if they can't handle this enemy, how are they going to handle later enemies down the road? Noelle is left to defend, and her magic skills actually get more accurate and more powerful as she fights. Asta will walk to Magma and give him a speech, asking Magma, is that all he has? I apologize for any background noise. Anyways, he would ask at Magma, is that all he has? And Magma will say no, trying to get up, but he would say it weakly. So Asta would then yell, I asked you a question, Magma. Magma would then yell back at Asta, no, this is not all I have. Asta would then say, then get up and surpass your limits. I know you can, Magma. Magma would get up, turning his body into flames, burning the icicle that was in his leg, and heal himself with flame recovering magic. And Heath would stop his attack on Noelle, and attack Magma, sending Ice his way. Magma would just let them hit him apparently, but the parts of his body that the ice hit turned into flames. The ice going through Magma, like Ace, as if Ace was getting attacked, like how things go through him. It's flames. Anyways, him and Noelle would both unlock a new spell at the same time, simultaneously using it in unison, absolutely destroying Heath. Asta would smile with pride after, yeah, after since they defeated Heath. Heath wakes up and he actually still kills himself and his man per cannon, and shortly after the trio will return to the HQ, and that's where I'll be ending it off. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm out of here. Peace.